Hey guys, DICE released patch notes for the upcoming 5.0 update and I wanted to go over them with you. First of all, the new map, Reclaim. Reclaim is the first map in 2042's history to only be playable officially with 64 players. That's right, if you want to play on Reclaim with 128 players, DICE has said you'll have to start up a portal experience. On top of being the first map with stationary AA turns, the map is the first conquest map in the game to not adapt a one-size-fits-all mentality when talking about vehicles. Usually every vehicle from quad bikes to jets can be found despite the size of the map, but now it looks like they're going back to what maps were like back in the old days, having specific vehicle lists. This right here is the list of vehicles available on Reclaimed. No transports, no hinds, and no jets. While yes, it's a sad thing for those who love playing with 128 player servers, this may be the future DICE devs have been looking for the game. Let me clear this out. This is an extremely good thing as it shows that DICE is no longer limited when making maps, as they can now shape, create, and balance a map with select vehicles already in mind. Meaning that if we get new seasons, we can start seeing new urban maps where only troop carriers like a MAV or a cab brawler are in use, or maybe a fucking ram. You know, it's often in the same vein as Saint Crossing, Propaganda, Pearl Market, and Amiens. Nope. Maybe we can even finally see that flooded London map that we saw before the game's release. I'm still in the minority of the community that still believes, 128 players is definitely the way to go for the franchise, but clearly that it was too much of a challenge for DICE to handle right now. So we got maps that felt way too big for even 128 player counts. And hopefully in the future, DICE can play with the idea of increasing the player count, but not to the full extent of 120 players. Maybe start off with something like 40 versus 40 or 50 versus 50 in their official portal experiences to see how does that flow in the map. I don't know, that's just a suggestion throwing up to DICE. We've already talked about all three weapons, the BFP-50, the U-46, and the XC bar in previous videos before. We've also talked about the anti-tank grenades and the RPG-7V2 coming as the new gadgets for the engineer class, while springs and mini grenades are coming to other classes in previous videos. But there's also a lot of quality of life changes coming this season. For starters, here's more footage of the Dozer and Irish changes coming later, where Dozer will now be able to strafe and rotate with his shield faster and be able to go up ziplines with it. If shot at, the bullets will now ricochet back to the shooter. While on the opposite end of the spectrum, and for no reason at all, Irish will be seeing a nerf to his APS, which sees it being able to shoot down a couple of projectiles before it goes on the cooldown state. Besides the new audio for it, this is one of the most backwards fucking changes this game has ever seen, as if you play the game, you would know the massive explosive spam that's going on right now. It's a whole ass issue. The literal only counter to that problem is Irish, and he's being nerfed right now. So yeah, I have no idea where that's coming from. Squad management is coming this season, while squad orders specifically will be coming in update 5.1. Camera sprint movements will see adjustments to make it show an added physicality and weight depending the type of gun you're holding. But if you don't like those changes, you could always revert back as they can be toggled on and off in the settings. Camera changes are also killing the jets to make them feel less floaty. ADS field of view is now turned on for all players. New icons for gadgets in the game. Damage numbers are now in the game. But now into the things that we didn't fully know about. Alright, starting with Season 5, Liz, Crawford, Zane, and Blasco will all be available as rewards for simply gaining XP. But this is a big one right here, and in the blog post they said this. Since launch, our level design team has been reworking our maps to react to feedback on cover opportunities and traversal improvements. These changes have also resulted in alterations to combat distances, and our weapons were tuned for those previous distances and combat scenarios in mind. Over time, this has resulted in feedback from you about several weapons being too accurate at long ranges without penalty. With Season 5, we aim to address this gap with balancing the accuracy and dispersion of several categories of weapons. Assault rifles from All Out Warfare and their Vault weapon counterparts will be the first to receive this treatment. You will notice the maximum dispersion has been increased by an average of 15 to 20%, and weapons will now reach the maximum dispersion level when they reach half of a magazine while on full auto and full spray mode. This should encourage everyone to do smaller bursts instead of prolonged fire towards a moving target. And in consideration with the map rework, should increase survivability at longer ranges to encourage further up close and personal combat. We will be assessing your feedback to this change over time and continue to make necessary changes in future updates. Guys, unlike Infinity War, DICE has finally listened to the community outcry that the weapons in this game feel like fucking laser beams. If you played this game for any amount of time, you would notice that for the most part, any gun can be viable at any fucking range, with little to no bullet spread or fucking recoil, causing fast and bullshit deaths. With this change, we'll be seeing weapons feel more in line to previous titles like 3, 4, and even 1. To me, this is the biggest thing they could have possibly done to fix the gunplay of the game without fully reworking it like they are right now with the vehicle loadouts. But as stated in the post, these changes will start off with the assault rifles, with other weapon classes to come in the future. Hopefully the next change we see are to the LMGs, but most likely would be the SMGs. But moving on, these are all the changes coming to the specialists. Angel's loadout crate can now resupply tracer darts. Blasko's single jammer will no longer protect itself from enemy spotting. Dicers are making this change to better help the enemy find and locate the jammer. Enemies disrupted by the signal jammer will no longer stop revealing their positions when the affected player shoots their weapon. Casper's drone is getting a thermal sight if you zoom in with it, and can no longer climb and fly on the drone. I didn't even know this was possible in the game. Valk's syringe pistols no longer does damage towards Dozer's shield. The syringe pistol will also no longer replenish ammo if your reserve is missing ammo, just like Zane's airburst. Sundance's anti-armor version of her grenade is being fucking flat out removed, and Dai says it's because tank crews were complaining that they don't know whether it was a missile coming towards them or an anti-tank grenade. Zane's airburst is seeing some fixes that would allow players to accurately set distances and help set distance while aiming at smoke. Major vehicle changes are coming this season besides the loadout reworks are the following. The M5C Bolt is getting bulletproof windows. The Cab Brawler sees some visual touch-ups. The EBAA Wildcat has seen the main primary weapon's minimum damage lowered from 9 to 6, the damage fall-off distance is now set to 250 meters, and the 30mm cannon has been removed. The EOBC Ram sees some VFX touch-ups and is now classified as a heavy armored vehicle along with the main battle tanks. The jets now get rocket pods, and their 30mm cannon spread is reduced, but the trade-off to that is that it overheats faster now. The tanks see the staff shall lose their smart lock-on ability, but they've gained the ability to lock onto laser-designated targets for extra damage. Turn speeds are also affected again, and now you can decouple the tank turning from aiming. Something that was taken for granted in Battlefield 3, 4, and 5, I'm gonna be honest. But yeah, that's what I have for you for today. If you want to read the full patch notes, they're listed down in the description. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like if you liked it, dislike if you didn't, send it if you hated it. And yeah, that's it for me. Thanks.